Welcome to WION World of Cricket. I am Isha Hanspal. What an innings we just saw. What a performance by Team India. 300 odd runs is what we had thought it will be for Team Pakistan. But Pakistan bowled out for 191 in 42.4 overs. Well, Pakistan wickets fell like 9 pins, 5 wickets lost for 16 runs between the 30th and the 36th overs. Bumrah, Yadav, Jadeja, Pandya all came to the party. Great captaincy by Rohit Sharma there. Dav Whatmore with me here in the studios. Dav, what a performance by India's bowling charge there. Did you expect this? 191 all bowled out.
Well, it was a surprise, wasn't it? At 155 for 2. They lost the next 8 wickets for 36 runs. You know, that is just very difficult to fathom. But all the bowlers responded to the captain's decisions to rotate the bowlers, and it was a wonderful effort. And particularly, I reckon, Kuldeep, you know, with those wrist spinners, not easy. 2 for 35 off his 10. Really good effort, India.
Really good effort.
They're playing like a team. Honestly, what I see, they're playing like a team that can win this World Cup.
Big words there. Also, Bumrah coming in the middle overs.
Yes.
What a performance. What a wicket. When he took that
I'd like to see his figures because it'll be coming up shortly. But
do we have Bumrah's figures? If we have those, we can probably have them for you right here on the screens. If not, we have also been flabbergasted by this performance by India. So I think the team's been working very hard to put those graphics up.
Well,
but I can read it out.
Did he take 2 or 3? But if he
Bumrah took 2.
2,
Bumrah,
okay.
yes.
So then he's equal leading wicket taker, isn't he? Because he's got 8 now.
He got Rizwan and he got Shadab Khan.
Right, so he's got 8 for the series, and he's tied with the two bowlers from New Zealand, Santner and Henry. So you know, obviously, if you're winning all the games, somebody has to be doing something consistently, and Bumrah's one of them. Yeah, well done. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
7 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 19. Wow, what an incredible performance!
What
that is.
an
2.71.
Yeah.
So yeah, fully deserved his figures the way he's been bowling.
What's interesting here is that we see 5 of India's bowlers take 2 wickets each, saving Shardul Thakur. You have 2 to Bumrah's name, 2 Siraj, 2 Pandya, 2 Kuldeep Yadav, 2 Ravindra Jadeja. Which of these wickets do you think were the turning point in Pakistan's innings?
Would have to be the breaking of the partnership, really, with the captain, Babar Azam and Rizwan. They were looking a little bit threatening. They were working the ball nicely. And very sad for the Pakistan team. The captain, Babar Azam, I don't think was a good shot. You know, he completely misjudged the line. He was trying to deflect the ball down to third man for a long single. Misjudged it, missed it, and it just took the off stump, outside of the off stump. But still, once you're in that position, as I was saying, you get a start, you've got to go on.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. But he did a good job. You know, good to have him back into form. He got a 50, so hopefully he can continue on from now.
Too soon to call the game out right now, but did you expect this of Pakistan, and why do you think they managed to post only 191? Were we expecting more? We surely were.
Well, I think maybe what played in their mind, maybe, I'm not sure, is their assessment of what a total might be on that pitch.
Interesting.
If they unrealistically thought, you know, we should be getting close to 300, then you know, their mindset is, oh, we're behind. I've got to go for it, and therefore, you know, mistakes. You take the odd risk in your own mind, and then you know you lose. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3. The very fact that it was difficult to play after the halfway mark, you know, balls keeping progressively lower. Maybe if they were thinking of that unrealistic target, maybe they should have reassessed and dropped it down more like 260, 270. You know, and that more than likely resulted in a bit of a domino effect. You know, next person comes in, got out. Next person comes in, got out.
Pretty much what happened.
And before you know it, you know, 8 wickets for 36.
Yes.
Unreal.
It was unreal. Right after Rizwan's wicket, I think they just felt like a house of cards.
Yeah,
like a pack of cards, yeah?
Yeah, the left-hander Sword Shakil, you know, sadly, you know, a good young player. In a big occasion, I'm sure he'll learn from that, but this guy also tried very hard. He got 49. He's been very, very consistent with his performances for Pakistan, and I'm sure he'd be feeling a little bit upset getting out, but that's cricket.
Where do you see this match headed? It's a little obvious, the question, but then do you think Pakistan can still pull a rabbit out of a hat?
No, not today. I think we may be having another early night, you know. I think the Indian team has had the benefit of seeing what this pitch is really like, and it's a play straight pitch for sure. Yeah. And if they can just get a half decent start, I think no problem. They'll get these runs without any fuss at all.
Do you think it was a smart decision by Rohit to get Bumrah back again in the middle overs?
It's always good to bring back a fast bowler for a short burst, and he's got access to 2 or 3 of them, and he's the leading wicket taker, and he's the spearhead of the attack. Yeah. As we said earlier, he's been out for a long time with a stress fracture, come back as if nothing had happened. Maybe that the layoff did him some good, but I tell you, he's hit his straps, very early in his comeback, and he's bowling beautifully. And
today we saw him bowl 8 at a stretch, unlike the last game that India played against Australia, if I'm not mistaken, where he was pulled out after the 3rd over. And the game that we talked about where he looked like he could have taken a wicket, but, you know, this time Rohit let him be.
I'm not sure exactly how many overs in that spell.
I think around 8 overs, but around, I think Shiraz and Bumrah together bowled around 8, if I'm not mistaken.
So they each had 4 or 5, right? He had a little bit more this time than he did against the Australian team. Right. And each game's slightly different. The captain sees it, you know, slightly different to what maybe you and I do, but, you know, it was a good decision, really, both in the Australian game and in this one. So, you know, he's responded. What the main thing is, the bowlers respond to the captain's decisions, and everybody supported each other. The fielding was good, the catching was good, the bowlers was good. Digvijay
has joined us from the stadium, from the Narendra Modi Stadium. Digvijay, if you can hear me, oh hi, there you are. Tell me, how is the mood there at the stadium? We just saw what happened with the Pakistan wickets there. Are you already hearing that furore in the stadium amongst that sea of blue? What is it? Just describe to us your experience of being there for that innings.
I will. I'm just outside the stadium. It's actually a long walk. You know, they've kept us away. You're not supposed to do your stuff from inside the stadium.
We're glad you're getting some exercise in.
But okay, that's fair enough. A bit of walking didn't hurt anyone. But I must tell you, the problem with press boxes is Dav wouldn't know much about them, right? Dav spent his life in the other side, on the other end, in the dugouts and in the dressing rooms. But you don't get exactly the mood of the ground. So what I did was, in fact, once Babar got out, I decided, you hear from India-Pakistan game, let's go and hear the roar of 120,000 plus people. So I actually went out of the press box and sat in the next stand. And I'm just so happy I did that, because only then did I understand the magnitude of what was going on. And then I can sort of relay that to you, because Bumrah came on to bowl and he sort of got Rizwan out, right? And then the DJs sort of started goading the crowd. The chants of boom, boom, Bumrah, the chants of Virat Kohli on the boundary ropes, everyone going Kohli. That atmosphere does rattle you. And to see Pakistan go from 155 for 2 to 191 all out, a big factor is the pressure obviously the Indian bowlers put, but also the cauldron. It's, you know, none of us have ever heard or sort of we've read about the amphitheatre, the Colosseum in Rome. This is similar, because you have so many people making so much amount of noise. It does rattle you, and especially when a bowler's running in or the fielding team has its sort of is on a sort of a upwards trend, it's very difficult for the two guys out in the middle. It's like you're up against the whole of India.
Diggy, I guess you have...
It's a very pretty picture, the Colosseum in Rome.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's an apt depiction, Digvijay. I can almost imagine what it must be like right now for Team Pakistan.
Look, absolutely. When you're on the opposition team, and there's so many supporters against you, you really needed to be to witness it. You can only witness it when you're in the shoes of an opposition player. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And if you are on a bit of a downtrend, then it's a big challenge, a real challenge to turn that all around, because every little thing that the home team does well, it's a huge supporting roar of the crowd, and it really does require a clear mindset to just forge ahead and do all the right things. But it didn't happen today. A lot of these guys a little bit, first time against a team like India in this cauldron. It's not easy. But seriously, 155 for 2, Diggy, we were thinking probably closer to 270, 280.
Yeah, Isha, in fact, I texted Dav, and we were sort of, phones are not going through it from here, right? So I think text messages are working. I was saying 280 is going to be somewhat of a challenging score, and then sort of, Siraj comes, and I think that's when Babar fell. In fact, both Babar and Rizwan, both out in similar fashion. What happened there, Dav? Did the ball just skid on and they were beaten for sheer pace? Because both were trying to sort of dab it down to third man, the way it looked at like that from me, from the stands. I was out there at that point.
Yeah, definitely. What I felt was that they were trying to just, ease that for a long single. But when it's somewhere on the stumps, or if it's just outside the stumps, you've got to be absolutely sure it's not coming back in. Once it's off the stumps, not coming back in, then it's okay. The other thing is, if it's keeping a bit low, that's when you've got to be careful of getting an inside edge. And, that was horribly close. Maybe even Babar might have got a slight touch on it. So keeping low, very careful to play straight a lot more. But certainly, playing those long singles off the wickets is very, very dangerous.
Also, Digvijay, you mentioned,
In fact, Dav, Isha, I just wanted to add one more thing which I spotted.
Right.
There's one more thing which I spotted. Sorry I think there's that lag. You start
time
speaking,
lag,
I start
absolutely.
speaking at the same time. Just permit me the 3-second lag, the time lag. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Isha, for interrupting you. But I just think that when you look at the way Pakistan started playing, it's sort of, it won't be remembered much, because obviously everyone here is hoping now it's going to be 8-0. But that soft underbelly, we thought they sort of got rid of it, the way they played against Netherlands, the way they played against Sri Lanka. But that's what, right? I mean, you expect the Babars of the world and the Rizwans of the world. They had a great start, let's be fair. The way Siraj leaked runs in the beginning, this crowd was quiet. Then you think that you've done all the hard work. You had 150 odd for 2.
Yeah.
And how can you then get out for 190? Does it come down to, I don't know what, maybe Dav has an explanation for it. But it's that soft underbelly of Pakistan and India. I mean, the captaincy was great. They went in for the kill. Yeah,
there is a soft, it can have a soft underbelly, and it lures you to a sense of uncertainty. Now, I want to say that when you're sitting with the pads on, ready to go in, and you see two guys in the centre that making it look fairly easy, right? The danger there is that the person coming in thinks, oh, it's not that hard. But they forget that both of those players who are making it look easy, they had to work a little harder at the start to get to that point. So the danger is when you're seeing something good happening, you think, oh, this is all right, I'll just walk in, take block, and then it'll just happen, but it doesn't. Yeah. So, that's, I think, is also one of the factors that played against the incoming batsman from the Pakistan team. And, before you know it, you leave it to the next one, Oh, don't worry, this guy will get the runs. If the guy will get the runs. If the guy gets out, oh, it's okay. We've got, Shada Khan coming in. We've got Noah's coming. It just doesn't work. You've got to take responsibility. Yeah. But that is a problem, though. One of the key factors.
Problems. But also, Dav, it's not that those guys in the centre were making it look extremely easy. One could see that they are playing slowly, assuredly, but then it's not that they made it look like it was a piece of cakewalk.
No, but when you look at the board and you think, gee, 150, 155 for 2, okay, I have to go and I'll just continue on with that, you know. So, yeah, it wasn't as easy, but, you know, when you look at it, you think, you know, I can keep this going. I'm not suggesting it's always easy, but, you know, certainly you'd rather come in at 3 for 155 than, you know, 3 for 50.
No, that's a very interesting point he made, because I also wanted to ask you what happened there. They come to 155 for 2. All of a sudden, they fall like 9 pins. So is it not the same psychology that's at play there? It's not that the least top order batsmen didn't have to go through the home stadium advantage that Team India had. They were also playing in the midst of that crowd.
Yeah, they just relaxed too much, Isha. I think, you know, just a bit of a relaxed attitude towards it all, and maybe also, as I said, gee, you know, this total should be higher than, you know, maybe closer to 280, 270, which really is unrealistic. If they banked on 250, 260, then they could have taken a little bit longer, maybe achieved that target, which would be a little harder for the Indians to chase. But yeah, look, we've seen this happen before.
So what you're saying is they'd set themselves a higher target, and that kind of
it can play on your mind. Yeah, if in your own mind you think it's worth this wicket, we should be getting 280, and you try to play accordingly, and then you know it just messes with your brain, because it's, you know, the degree of difficulties is more than what you know you think is.
It is.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. Okay, Dav, lots of comments coming in after that spell. Let's begin with Kunal, who says, a collapse of spectacular proportions from Pakistan. 155 for 2 to 191 all out. Brilliant bowling in the second half, and Rohit just seemed to have the game on a string. It was the breakthrough from Siraj that opened the door, but India had the caliber of Bumrah, Kuldeep, Hardik and Jadeja. Very true?
Yeah, very true. Very true. And Mohammad Siraj was getting knocked around a bit too. But you get a sense that when you're watching on TV that he's got a hold on it. Well, no, he's got a real positive outlook. Yeah. Okay, I've been hit for 4, but no, I'm going to run in. He keeps running in, and he bowls, you know, with an absolute 100% execution, and he's rewarded. So, you know, I really like the way he approaches it. Much like Bumrah, much like Pandya. You know, those guys, they just run in regardless, and they give it their all. Ashish comments, wonderful from Indian bowlers, but are we going to ignore umpire Erasmus's complete reluctance to give LBWs to India? No, he's one of the better umpires going around, you know, and the one that he said no, he actually gave a sign on the field. The camera picked it up. He was saying it hit the bat. But fortunately for the Indian team, they actually did take a review, and it missed the bat. And if it hadn't have hit the bat, in his mind, I'm sure he would have been absolutely, you know, finger up immediately. But he thought it hit the bat. So that can happen as well. And there was another one too that he thought was missing the leg stump. And I was a little bit in agreement, you know, but sometimes umpires will go with that. But captain had the presence of mind to review, and they reviewed really well today. Okay. Aditya asks, is this a worrying sign for Pakistan, provided their bottom battle order failed to deliver? Look, it is a worrying sign. Yeah. But not so much was it the bottom order you said? Yeah, he's like, provided the bottom battle order failed to deliver. Look, it is a worrying sign to me, because this is the first time that they're playing in a game, a high-profile game that is potentially a World Cup winning team, and they started okay, but they failed. The underbelly was there. They failed a bit. So it'll be a bit worrying. They need to quickly. I don't think they can win it, but from now on, with the games coming up, they need to try and turn that around and then reassure themselves that, you know, they are good enough to compete. So this was the first real test. You know, the chasing a Sri Lanka score of 340 odd was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but that's that attack was really a second string attack under lights on a very good surface and a short outfield. So here they're presented with a really good opposition, and the test, I'm afraid at the moment, they haven't passed that test, you know, but they're showing signs like they could. But, you know, they're going to have to regroup and repair that confidence that's they've lost today.
Would the results have been any different? We don't have the results yet, but would the score have been any different? Would India have batted first?
Oh, well, that's subjective, very subjective, but I think so. I think the Indians know that wicket a little bit better, you know. Yeah. They've played on it over the years. And as I said, this is
that was purely for our viewers.
Yeah, that was a black. This is a black clay soil, and there's one next to it, or the one next to that is red, and that bounces a bit more and it takes a bit of spin. So you know the wicket, you know the surfaces, and I think they would have done a bit better. Sure.
Okay. Amit asks, should India also focus on a run rate in this match?
That's rubbing salt in the wounds, isn't it? Look, again, in any game you play, if you're playing a
cannot ignore that,
weak team or a strong team, when you get to that winning, when you know you're going to win the game, and there's overs to spare, that's when you can accelerate. That's when you take a few more risks, knowing that you're going to win the game. And the short answer is yes. And I think that will happen again, provided you know they can keep their wickets early. I think that'll happen.
Faizan asks, does crowd factor play a big role in a fixture of this magnitude? I'm going to just extend it to...
It can, it can, Isha, particularly for guys who haven't experienced this before.
Yeah.
You know, as the best intentions of every player say, I don't care about the crowd, all I'm focusing is on the ball. But the reality is that you just can't
completely ignore it.
Yes. It's there in your ears all the time. And there is ways of practicing that too. You can record crowd noise. You Google crowd noise, you record it, and you put it in your ear, and you can bat in the nets with that noise in your ears. If you're not used to it, it can be done. But the reality is, it's there, and you can't ignore it. You just got to deal with it the best way possible.
Dav, how does Pakistan try to salvage the situation from this point on?
They've got to make it hard, really hard, for the Indian team to get those runs. They need to probably, you know, lose the game. I'm assuming they're going to lose, right? They'll lose the game in the 40th over, 45th over, something like that. Because to lose it in a short period of time would be absolutely tragic for Pakistan.
Yeah. A few polls that we conducted. Who was India's best bowler? Jasprit Bumrah, Siraj, Kuldeep Yadav, Hardik Pandya. Obviously, 67.3 go to Bumrah there.
Yeah. It's his home ground, right? He's from Gujarat, from Ahmedabad.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Also, can Pakistan bowlers stage a comeback?
Well, you'd like to think so. You know, they're also a pretty decent set.
They are.
They are, and you know, I think with the new ball under lights, they'll get some assistance. That's not. I think that's not a question. They will get some assistance. So let's hope that they can repeatedly direct that attack in the right area.
82.4% say no, and the remaining 17.6% say yes. Yeah. Did Pakistan succumb to crowd pressure? 74.2% say yes.
Yeah.
And 25.8% say no.
Well, it looks like they did, didn't they? The way they capitulated in that middle towards the end. Yeah.
Very interesting question that we asked about. Is this India's best bowling lineup ever? I'd like to get your answer first, and then I'll read out the poll results.
there's been some wonderful bowlers over the years. In World Cups, you know, they won the World Cup there in India, so they had a good attack then as well. Maybe a little bit early to tell, but at the moment, this attack in this series, they're looking like champions.
They are definitely
looking like champions.
Best,
and they'll be tested, obviously, against South Africa and New Zealand, but they're looking really good, I have to say.
So 67.6% say yes and 32.4% say no. I think these 32.4% are probably in an age bracket closer to mine or your age, you know. So I feel the other 67 odd percent relate more with this team. Nothing to take away from this extremely talented bunch, but I'd say I've seen a few more teams play, and you probably even more in your lifetime. Probably this is skewed in that direction because of the sentimental attachment that you have with your favorite players playing out there.
When you're actually in the moment at the time, you think, boy, I mean, they're world beaters.
They cannot be no one better.
Because it's there in front of your eyes. You know, you have to stop and think, look, you know, those guys before a few years ago, they were pretty good too. So I can understand that.
Understandable. Okay, a couple of comments more. Mayur asks, Pakistan's batting falls short of expectation, posting tiny total on a pitch that experts favour to be capable of 340 and projected score of 321. Can Team India extend the dominance and make it 8-0 against Pakistan?
Well, they can. Mayur's figures, I think early on in that first few overs anyway, against the new ball, you probably were projecting a score of, you know, high 200s, 300. But as you went along, I think you need to adjust to think, oh, gee, this is getting a little harder than, you know, to play. So therefore we should readjust rather. But initially, I would think, you know, 300 might have been a good total.
Okay, Michelle asks, is this the most complete performance in the World Cup so far? I feel it's too early to ask that.
Well, halfway mark against a good opposition, which was, this game was billed as two good teams, both coming in with confidence. All those things are correct. And then one team, you know, was travelling pretty well and then fell off the cliff. So it's halfway, you know, let's wait to see what the second half is before we can answer that question.
Mayank asks, did overconfidence cost Pakistan in the match? Do you think it was overconfidence? No,
I don't think so. I think it was sadly a case of unable...
Underconfidence, perhaps?
Well, maybe too, but a couple of indiscretion shots came in, and after that happened, boys were good enough to overcome a rampant home team attack with huge amount of support that was prevalent.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Ravish comments, 5 Indian bowlers got 2 wickets each. The same happened in Mohali semi-final of 2011. He's expecting another stroke of genius there, of course.
Well, everyone getting,
let's wait for another innings to see if we have a few more magicians in that line.
But everyone chipping in for wickets is a good thing as well.
It's a good thing, yes.
And don't forget, Jasprit Bumrah has got now 8 wickets. So he's equal leading with the New Zealanders.
Okay, just a couple of final ones. Akshat says, Bumrah's 2 deliveries in successive overs were glorious, one cutter and the other a seam-up delivery. Same length, same line, but just different balls. That is the genius of Boom Boom. Bloke's a genius, bloke's a master craftsman and a superstar.
He obviously likes Jasprit Bumrah, and fair enough. I'm sure he wouldn't be alone. There'll be a lot of supporters who really put him up there on a pedestal, and he thoroughly deserves it. He often succeeds in providing all the good stuff for India.
Right. Okay, before we get back to the match, because I think we are going to have the men on the crease pretty soon now. Dav, who will, if at all, be able to break India's back there?
Oh.
If you had to pick out one person.
One bowler. Look, the opening bowlers have to use the new ball. If they don't get wickets with the new ball, then I'm afraid it could be a slow death. It turns out to be inevitable. If they get to a point where India thinks they can accelerate and win it with overs to spare, that would be even worse. But the condition of this pitch looks like it's going to get a little harder to bat on as the game goes on. But under lights too, that could negate that. It could even that out for them. But they've got to get wickets for the new ball, Ish.
Okay, fair point. All right, well, that's it we have for you in the mid-innings coverage of that particular innings that we just saw. What a performance by India. Waiting to see how Pakistan fare now. We'll be back again in the post-match coverage on WION World of Cricket.